Okay, so I've already taken the intake cam from this cylinder head. This is the old head that I wasn't going to use, just to be sure. Uh, I took the intake and put it on the exhaust side. If you remember, and if you watched any of the other videos, I was talking about upgrading the springs, the valve keepers, and the camshaft, the brand new upgraded camshaft. Now the directions are to take this cam and put it in the intake and take your original. Now if you're using the same cylinder head, obviously you're just gonna take your exhaust camshaft out and then move your intake over and then put this one in. But I thought I'd go through the steps real quick on how you do this. Just going to loosen up. These are all new caps. Like I said, this is a new cylinder head. I just I jumped off and bought a new one. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that the new ones didn't come with new roller rockers. I thought it came with new camshafts and roller rockers, and it does not. But it did have new intake valves, nice and brand new intake valves. I replaced my rings, which is the main reason I ripped into this weekend, because they didn't seat when I originally replaced the pistons and the rings. I didn't use engine break-in oil, and the rings never really seated properly, and I ended up burning oil. Started off pretty slow, just about a quart, here or there, down to a noticeable level until last week I went 500 miles and then I had to put a quart in. Now when you remove your camshaft, I'm going to show you here on the old one, because I got to take it out so I can get the rollers and the lash adjusters. When you take these out, I don't need the torque wrench to take them out. When you take these out, you want to loosen these a little bit at a time. So you loosen this one, then jump somewhere else. There is a sequence you can follow as long as you're evenly removing it. And by even, I mean crisscrossing around, so that way it will come up because there's tension on it. Generally, when you loosen it the one turn, you might be able to just loosen them out by hand. And just loosen them out, pull the caps off. They're all the way loose now, so it's take that. Take that one. The forward cap. Pull the shaft out. And this is not going to be used in the new configuration, so I'm just going to hold on to it, throw it in the box. Now, unfortunately, I'm not, I already took since I was reusing this shaft here on the intake, I took those rollers and put it with the original. I don't see any wear on these. These look nice and shiny, so we're going to go ahead and not worry about moving them to over here. Now you guys pull this, you got to pull out this lash adjuster, and I know this is going to make a lot of people cringe. I've been pulling them out with these, but it's really okay. It's good. Just get it up out of there. Ugh. Don't let it sink back in, because it wants to just sink right back in. Oh, okay. You take your lash adjuster out. I'm going to put it in, drop in, then I don't know if the camera's focused on where I'm at, but I'll show you. Let me pull out another one. Let me turn the screen around so I can see. Alright. So you take out the lash adjuster. See, it comes out pretty easy. And we'll tip the camera up so you can see the other cylinder head. And then just drop it on in. They just thump right in. They, for the most part, unless they're brand new, they just slide right in. So you really shouldn't have an issue sliding them out if you're doing this in this style. I doubt it. You'll be doing it this way. If you're replacing, you might be having to soak them and make sure they're pumped full of oil with an oil can or some way to fill them up with oil, because they'll be dry, and you don't want that. There's a little hole on it down here and a little hole there. You could fill it with oil any way you want. There's a million ways to do it. You can take an oil can with a really small end on it and fill it up that way. Pump it full of oil. But we'll continue this for just a few more seconds. Don't drop your parts. You can see they come out relatively easily. Take that out, drop that on in, drop it in. It's kind of nice how they'll sit nice and even on there. Now, if there's nothing wrong with this cylinder head, and once I have it checked out by a shop, what I'll probably do is I'll port it really big, but I want to do all the right math on that, so I want to get all the right specs before I do any porting. That is, if it's good. If it's no good, well, I'll just return it for a core. It's not much of a core, it's only a few bucks, but if I'm going to return it, I'll probably be pulling the valve springs out, because those are 72 pound and they've only been in there for a while. I just opted to get new ones. It was a lot quicker. So then, after you get those sitting in there, I like to take a little bit of assembly lube and put some on the bearing areas. And put a little dab, put a little more there, put a little dab on each one of the rollers. I know probably not entirely necessary, but you know, when you start it up, there's not going to be any oil. We're going to take the shaft. I'm going to set it in here, kind of in the way that it's supposed to go. So that way it's pretty much close. Make sure all your rollers are straight. Okay? You don't want them to be crooked, you'll have an issue. Kind of a big one, actually. Okay, looks good. I'm going to take all your caps. Well, first we'll put a dab of lube, engine assembly lube, on all the camshaft journals. Just, you know, to keep it even, make it nice and lube it up real good. Put all your caps on. Your caps are labeled and they have an arrow on them, so you really can't mix them up. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 on the intake side of this engine, and 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 on the exhaust side of the engine. And just snug these down by hand. Then when you get to this part here, you want to take your wrench or your socket, your E12, and I turn them until I feel a little resistance. You know, maybe less than 10 inch-pounds. Okay, that one, yeah, I'm going to have to wait on that one. So I'm going to snug these down by hand again. You can run them down by hand. You're not going to hurt anything by doing that. I'll just take this one, run it down. Maybe do this one. About 10 inch-pounds. Resistance, 10 inch-pounds there. And if you use a beam type, you can see how much resistance, how much pressure you're putting on it, and that way you can evenly tighten it too. Don't have to worry about over tightening the caps too early. These two are down in their positions, so they're going to be a little tough. They're going to be pushing down on that spring. Those springs, actually, 2 springs. See, that one's got a little loose again. Oh, this is the last one here. Oh, got loose. When you feel that they're close, give them all a tap. And then I'll start at the main cap and bounce back and forth to 71 inch-pounds. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. And that one. And that one. As you can see, 71 inch-pounds is not a lot of force, a lot of torque on these bolts. And there you have it. That's how you install the camshafts on these particular engines. Not real hard, as you can see, pretty easy. Lube it up, it's a good idea. Don't worry about that assembly lube, it'll come out into the oil. It'll dissolve in the oil pretty well. You're going to change the oil, you'll change the oil soon anyway, it doesn't matter. It's good. But there it is, that's how you do that. I have the studs, and I'm not sure. I may film installing these studs, but they're pretty simple, and they're 3 passes non-torque to yield studs. So they're just going to be 60 foot-pound studs, and you put them in, tighten them up to 60 foot-pounds in 3 passes, 20, 40, 60. In the sequence, you're going to want to follow the actual torque sequence. This is the removal sequence. I don't know if it's the same. I have another sheet with the installation sequence. I removed it that way. It's a good idea to remove it, especially the cylinder head, in the sequence that they've printed in the book. Or if you're Chilton online, which I hate, which is why I ordered a book. I'm glad it came in today, because these printouts are annoying. I suppose they're nice because you can just throw them away and they get all dirty like this one did. And I'll grease all over it. But there it is. If you're wondering why the turbocharger is attached, it was easier for me to install it like this, and then I'll be setting the whole assembly onto the engine that way, because I got this wrapped in header wrap, and the top bolts are nice and easy to remove, but the bottom and install, but the bottom ones, because of this header wrap, besides this first one on the end here, down here, they're so close to the header wrap because the wrap makes the clearance so critically close that it's just almost impossible to install it. I can't believe I actually was able to install this while the cylinder head was on the engine and it was in the car. It was pretty amazing. It took a lot of effort, and I used a lot of weird different things just to get them tight, you know, and I managed to tighten them up. I think I ended up finding an Allen wrench that'll actually fit to that inner Torx. It's like an inner Torx 47 or E-Torx, whatever that is. Whatever these are. T-Torx, outer Torx, okay, yeah, not the inner Torx, the outer Torx 47, and it's kind of sucks. I'm going to go see if they actually sell like a Torx with the long thing. It should. I keep forgetting to look for one of those. I mean, it's not like I take the turbo fold and the turbo off the engine every weekend. Once it's on there, it's usually on there for the long haul, like 6 months normally. Oh, just kidding. But there it is, camshaft installation. If you order this cam, you're going to get a special cam tool. You'll notice that this is a lot different than the tool that's required for the installation. The normal tool that's required is just a flat, straight edge blade that you normally just stick up here. You'll see that this actually clocks the cams slightly different. I think I'll go ahead and clock them right now. You turn the cam with a big wrench. Where's my big wrench? It's like a 22 millimeter, and I don't know where I set it down at. I got it. So just use a big wrench, and then you can turn the cam. Maybe. It's proving to not want to turn. I don't want to get the wrench jammed. Yeah, this is gonna suck because I suppose I should have set this in the correct orientation. I got an idea. I'll just hold it with this plate and then turn it. That's going to snap and hurt me or hit the journal. Now if I get the wrench on there. Aha, okay. Getting close now. Huh. Oh, that stinks. Roll it. I went too far. I didn't. I don't know how, but I went too far. Ta-da! Get out of here, Skeeter. Alright. Looks like it's clocked in good. Right there. That should be just about right. Let's see if the valves are open or closed. Ugh. This thing got heavy. I got two of them that are open. That's weird. And you got those two that are open too. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, it's on my hand. Oh, okay. And that should wrap it up. Oh boy, I'm sorry I rambled too long on this one. But make sure you clock it right with the tool they send, and not the factory clocking tool. When you put the phasers on there, you have to tighten the bolts that they give you. You have to replace them. They're torque to yield. You have to tighten them to like, I don't know, like 27 or 37 inch foot-pounds, and then like 45 degrees. Make sure when you're torquing down the phaser bolts, you're holding the camshaft. Don't rely on the plate to hold it. You want to hold the camshaft with your wrench, because that's not meant to hold it, that's just meant to clock it. You have to actually hold it with the wrench.